Hello, Anaida here, and I'm glad to inform you that I'm back. It took me 3 months, but I finally got the courage to make this video. I don't know why, it put me in some kind of slump. And yeah, if this is the first time watching any of my stuff, hi, I'm Anaida. And yeah, this is what I'm usually like. So without any further ado, let's get into my January 2026 reader's journey. So, the first book I read in the year 2026 was The Menu of Happiness by Hisashi Kashiwai. It's the third installment in the Kamogawa Food Detectives series. These books are always a set of episodes connected by the Kamogawa Detective Services. The Kamogawa Diner is like a hidden gem of a restaurant. They cook mouth-watering food with the best of ingredients and cookware. However, the outside of the store doesn't look appealing. It doesn't even look like a store and it's pretty hard to find. Their detective service is advertised in a magazine without an address, so the guests always have to convince the editor to tell them where it is. And the main crux of the service is that they are able to faithfully recreate a dish you are craving. People from different walks of life come to them to ask for various dishes they ate somewhere, at home, at a restaurant that no longer operates, etc. The customer always tells the story that is connected to the food. When they come back after 2 weeks, the dishes are served and it's always perfect. This time, however, I was not as satisfied as Kamogawa's customers. There are two people working in the agency, Nagare, an older cook, and his daughter Koichi. Koichi is the one interviewing the guests, and this time, at quite a few occasions, she was judgmental as hell. These people a lot of times are no longer in touch with their relatives and they have their reasons. And it felt like sometimes Koichi was like, yeah, you should be in touch with your relatives even if you don't want to, or they were assholes. I don't know, I just didn't vibe with it. And I give it 3 stars. Agatha Christie, The Moving Finger. So, I said the last year was the year of Tolkien. Get ready, because this year should be the year of Agatha Christie. I started my Read All Agatha Christie Books challenge years ago, and now it transformed into read everything from her, even the books you have already read, because you have this amazing reading tracker, and I will not Google plots to put them in. I just have to reread it, because that's the kind of person I am, you know? So, in The Moving Finger, we get Christie in a setting I like the most. A quiet village with something sinister simmering underneath the surface. We have 2 siblings coming to the village for some peace and quiet the brother needs because he is recovering. Instead, they get a crazy lunatic writing nasty letters to just about anyone, a suicide triggered by said letters, a murder, and love troubles. Once again, Agatha Christie is pointing me at a certain direction, and I'm looking there and I'm missing the entire point. Genius. I just wish there was a bit more Miss Marple, then it would be easy 5 stars. Now it's like 4.5. An Execution, an Earl and Miss Hughes by Claudia Stone. And I looked up the pronunciation guide to the name, but I'm not sure I did it right, so I'm sorry in advance. Back to the village of Plumpton to find a husband to another one of the single ladies firmly convinced they are on the shelf. All the original Mifford sisters are already married, but worry not, because they still have a friend, a cousin, and a maid that are unmarried and in need of rescuing from suspicion of murder. Miss Sarah Hughes has a father, and he is suspected of the murder of the local landowner everybody seemed to hate. Lord Deverell pretends to be interested in Sarah to get out of the Mifford matron's scheme to get him together with her niece Charlotte. Soon enough, he finds himself smitten and entangled in investigation. Good times and 4 stars. The Monogram Murders by Sophie Hannah. To avoid consuming too much of Agatha Christie, I decided to read the new Hercule Poirot, and this time I started with the first book in the series, as one should. Or at least someone with my sense of order should have. Let me get one thing straight. This plot was a bit too much. We have 3 simultaneous murders in 3 different rooms in one hotel. The investigation itself was entertaining, and I loved the reason why. I just hated the overcomplicated how. Also, I was not quite as surprised with the murderer. There were almost no people who could have done it, so of course it ended up being the few who could and got enough screen time for it to make sense. Another complaint I have is about the new Inspector and Poirot. During the process, they were always annoyed with each other, and not in an endearing way. Catchpole also spends way too much time not getting anything. He is supposed to be a police officer. He has no unhinged theories like our darling Hastings. However, I am ready to admit it was good enough for me to continue. There is potential, and I believe Sophie Hannah will eventually get there. I have recently been reading Christie's first novels, and they are good, but they aren't the best. She had time to grow into the writing icon she has become, so I'll be patient. 3 stars for now. Saxon James, Forgotten Romance. At this point in January, I was in a mood to tie some loose ends. The Divorced Man Club by Saxon James is a series that has been consistently very well written, and I gave a lot of the books 4 and 5-star ratings. This is the last book in the series, and I was dreading it. Usually at least one person in the couple is divorced. This time both of them are, but they are getting back together. The main conflict is one of the 2 people in the couple wants the other to work less and prioritize family, because he is spending a lot of time taking care of everything alone and is overwhelmed, and the other one likes his work and is afraid about their whole living situation crumbling down, which is both valid. It has gotten interesting once both parties started thinking about it from a different perspective. And both of the MCs managed to have at least some hobbies, which saved them from being bland. However, I have complaints as well. Their kids felt like props that were hoisted upon someone the second we needed the main characters to advance the plot. The story was also full of feelings that were a bit overdramatic. The 2 people are supposed to love each other and they keep on saying it, but we weren't there when they fell in love. I'm not a fan of second chance romance, and part of the reason is that authors get out of building a solid romance. They are in love already. I don't need to show you because I already told you. You know? I gave it 3 stars, I believe. Now we are going to cover 4 books at once. Holmes of Kyoto 9, 10, 11 and 12. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. Am I reading a lot of manga to kind of inflate the number of books I read in a year? Yes, absolutely. If I were to only read quote-unquote normal books, I would be forced to only read shorter books, and sometimes I am in a mood for something longer. For example, I recently started the complete works of Shakespeare, and there is over 1,000 pages. I'm just not capable of reading long books, reading over 100 books a year, going to work and having a life. So, I'm reading manga. Plus, I really like manga. If you are not familiar with Holmes of Kyoto, it is about Aoi, a part-time employee at an antique shop, and Holmes, an appraiser, employee of the shop and son of the owner. This Holmes guy often helps people solve mysteries. Volume 9 was really good. There was a meeting of Sherlock fans, and I liked that. Volume 10 was also good and the most romance-heavy so far. Volumes 11 and 12 were a disappointment. There is one mystery that spans the volumes and up to 12 remains unsolved. I am reading these translated and there is no way I'll remember the mystery when volume 13 is released. The series ends with volume 15 and I really hope it gets better. The Murder at World's End by Ross Montgomery. This is the first book in a new historical mystery series called Stockingham and Pike. It's 1910 and Stephen Pike is making his way towards a manor on a cliff to start a new job as a servant. Once he arrives, he is greeted by chaos, incited by the lord of the house who is preparing for apocalypse because the Halley's Comet is passing the earth. Once the annoying Viscount is dead, the new hire, who happens to have a criminal record, is the chief suspect, of course. He would probably be doomed if not for the old, slightly kooky aunt living sequestered in a nursery. She curses like a sailor, she throws stuff, and she is quite sharp. Together our unlikely heroes embark on a chaotic journey. This was pretty solid and hopeful 3 stars. I just don't like the obligatory first book in a murder mystery series where the MC has to be the suspect. I understand why it has to be that way. How else can we explain the morbid curiosity in wanting to interfere with murders? I just usually like later installments without the trope much better. The Middle-earth Traveler, Sketches from Bag End to Mordor by John Howe. Gorgeous sketches of Middle-earth. There is not that much text in this one, but it's a good thing, because the most important are the illustrations. You'd be disappointed if you were promised art and got barraged by walls of text instead. And this was not disappointing in the slightest. It was so beautiful. I got everything I wanted from this book. And that's it. That's my January 2026 reader's journey. I read 11 books, even though 4 of them were manga, but I'm counting them because it's my list. I can do whatever I want. But I'm so confused. Like, why did making this took me so long? Why was I so afraid? It wasn't hard. I was actually having fun when I made this video, and it didn't really take that much time at all. I guess sometimes you just have to wait and do things at the right time and with the right mindset, because a lot of things were happening. I mean, that sounds like an excuse. Almost all the time, a lot of things are happening. I was just afraid and intimidated by this video, and I got over it, and I finally made it. I'm happy. I'm happy that I did it. And if you liked it, let me know. And if you read any of these books and have an opinion about them, I would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!